Welcome back. It has been far too long, but I am so happy to be here. Easter is right around the corner, so I wanted to share this idea for some reusable Easter eggs. This is the basic idea. It's pretty two-dimensional until there's something in there. It just has this little pocket in the front for the Easter bunny or whoever wants to put something in there. I have seen other ideas on videos for making these pocket Easter eggs with fabric, sort of doubling up layers of fabric, which I think is super cute. And so that's a great thing to seek out if that interests you. I really like making these with felt because they just seem a little faster and easier to me. You can make them different sizes. I just love this alternative to the plastic Easter eggs. I will talk about those at the end of the video as well. This is not necessarily like a very specific tutorial because that is just not my forte. I just generally wanted to talk about how these are made. I started out by just cutting the shape of an egg onto the back of a food box that was in our recycling anyway. Just use that as a template on a piece of felt we had around. Actually, this piece of felt is pretty nice quality. It's a piece of wool felt that I got at a garage sale. You can also find felt that's called eco felt. Don't know how actually eco-friendly it is. That is an option, and I know of a fabric store going out of business right now, so there are places to find felt. I often find felt at yard sales, thrift stores, places like that. So once you've cut out two egg shapes, you're gonna just take only one of them, of course, and just cut it right down the middle if that's where you want your egg opening to be. I often like to add a little bit of stitching on what will be sort of the opening of the egg. So I just take those two pieces that I've cut and I add some sort of a blanket stitch to the bottom of the top half and then one to the top of the bottom half. And then if you'd like to sort of pin your egg together, that probably is a wise idea while you do the blanket stitch around the whole egg. I did not do that. I just usually hold them together as I'm sewing. If you want to do any embroidery on your eggs, I suggest you do those obviously prior to sewing the pieces together. My daughter got very excited to make a bunch of eggs for a show that she currently loves. So that's what these are. And she did all the embroidery and names and symbols. And then of course, did the stitching around the border of the eggs. Once that embroidery was done, you can also just kind of glue on pieces of rickrack, or you could glue on pieces of ribbon or pieces of lace. If you do have kids in your life, it's fun to just kind of put out some supplies and let them decorate the eggs. I also realized we have not done this, but you could definitely decorate the back side of the eggs as well, where there's no opening. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know why we haven't done that yet. We have tried just stitching the eggs. If you prefer using a sewing machine, you could just stitch around the egg as well. Depending on what your Easter bunny usually puts in the eggs, you can figure out what size you'd like. For instance, these tiny eggs are very good for adding minifigures or maybe stickers. I do have another video where I offer Easter bunnies ideas for different things to put into eggs, and most of those would just work in these eggs as well. Things like hair accessories, homemade scrunchies, things like stickers or seed packets. These can also be super fun for the Easter bunny to hide because they're just a little more two-dimensional, so they just hide in a different way than the classic sort of plastic Easter eggs. I don't know if they're great necessarily for chocolate or candy unless those are wrapped in wrappers, so your Easter bunny might not want to do that. These are just super great to leave out maybe the week before or the night before so the Easter bunny has them and can fill them. If you or your Easter bunny are partial to the plastic eggs, I just wanted to talk about an egg company that I found years and years and years ago. I think we've had these over 10 years. They are called Eco Eggs, and they are made from 100% recycled materials. I love the colors of them. They're just so beautiful. Here we mixed and matched the yellow and blue, but they are just so lovely and sturdy, and I far prefer them to the other Easter eggs. It's a women-owned company, and again, they're 100% recycled and recyclable, and we've had ours for a long time, and they are doing just great. Just for comparison, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but this is one of the eco eggs, and this is one of just like a plastic. It's actually kind of a large regular plastic Easter egg. I don't know if you can see, there's like little crack marks and stuff. This is just a much flimsier egg than this. I don't know if you can really see that, but I far prefer the eco eggs. I think their prices have gone up quite a bit since we got ours. Just keep your eye out for sales, especially after Easter for the next Easter. And then in terms of the little plastic, the smaller little cheap plastic Easter eggs, those are definitely something that can be reused. I find them at thrift stores all the time. If you're ever in charge of an Easter egg hunt or know someone who is, or you attend one, I love when I see just sort of a bin at the exit so people can put their Easter eggs in there and they can reuse them for the next year. I think that idea is beautiful and needs to be done more, because I know parents do not want more Easter eggs in their house usually. So I think that's a really great option to just reuse those plastic eggs. And I have written to Easter egg hunts suggesting this, and sometimes that goes better than others, but I think that the more people hear that this is something that is important to people, then the more they will listen. I do love having the special felt Easter eggs for Easter. It's such a sweet addition for their baskets when the Easter Bunny puts those in there, and I love that the kids can make their own or decorate parts of their own eggs, and especially right now, while eggs are still hard to come by and a bit expensive, and maybe dyeing Easter eggs isn't as much of an option this year, I love that this alternative is just a way that kids can get creative. They can use fabric markers or ribbons, or if they can do embroidery, they can just kind of create their own designs on these eggs, whether you kind of make that structure for them or if they do the whole thing themselves. It's a really neat option and lasts a lot longer than the dyed Easter eggs, and it's just such a sweet little memento, maybe to make a new one or a new batch of them every year and just keep adding to that and remembering different ages and stages that the kids were when they made them. I will try to find a good video about the blanket stitch specifically, so I can link that below. I always forget how to do it. My daughter had to remind me. I think that is all for today. Thank you so much for being here and for all that you do. Our actions can and will make a difference.